thanks to some requests in the comments, I am going to show you folks my ink swatch book. I have this in a Chic Sparrow Emma Traveler's Notebook. It's pocket size, which is really great. It's pretty perfect for this exact use. And I love this thing. It is still in pretty good shape. I know that Emma gets scratched up pretty easily, so I'm hoping over time it starts to look more worn and loved. And I have one of my favorite charms ever on here from East End Alchemy on Etsy. It looks like a little fountain pen nib, which is pretty perfect for this. So just want to show you what I've got in here, show you some of my ink swatches, and then show you how I set up the pages. So first you can see I have a Chic Sparrow dashboard with some sterling ink vellum in it, and then for my actual ink swatches I write in this Jet Pens Tomoe River Paper pocket-sized notebook. I feel like this paper is perfect for showing off like the sheen in different inks. And when I first started writing in here, I just kind of wrote down the name of the ink and made a bit of a mess with it and wrote down some of my thoughts about what the ink is like in certain pens. I divide the page up with a little dashed line, and you can see some of it goes through, so I don't write on the backs of the pages, but it usually just ghosts because Tomoe River Paper is magical. And I have been writing the date, so I kind of remember when I've inked something up and I know when I need to go and clean it, but I've kind of stopped doing that since then. This page was from a bunch of samples. I got the Goulet Pens Dark Blue Bestsellers set, and they send these little bottles of ink so you can try out different ink colors, and I've bought some of my favorites in full bottles. I also usually, unless I put it in a fountain pen, I use this glass dip pen as my method of testing these out. So that way I don't have to wait to use up an entire fountain pen before I actually go in here. So you just dip it in if you haven't used one of these before, and then you can wipe it off after you are done so you don't have to commit to filling up a whole fountain pen. You can try out lots of samples, which is really fun. I love buying sample inks. They're great. I also got the muted and dark purple ink set, and those had some really interesting ones in them. A lot of them were kind of on the gray side, which I don't mind. But yeah, I love testing out inks. Here's some more. I started to, you can see here, it wasn't quite so messy. And then, this was a game changer. I got a stamp that made these pages look a lot more organized. It's from Everyday Explorers Co. It's this one right here. You can kind of fill in a little swatch. There's a place for the brand and the color of the ink, and that started making these pages look a lot more professional. It looks like something I bought this way. So it's really fun. I still divide up the pages with those little dotted lines, and yeah, I actually really like when I get a new ink and I get to test it out, and I open this up first. So I don't have it organized in any particular way. It just is in order of when I get the ink. And then I also have this little blotting sheet in here just in case I need to turn a page so that I don't make a huge mess on the other side. But I like looking back in here. It's nice to refer back to ink colors when I'm trying to decide what to ink up next. It's good to have them all in one place. And now I'm going to show you how I stamp the pages because it's time to do that so I can swatch some more inks. These are clear photopolymer stamps from the set Pen and Paper by Christine Heron of Everyday Explorers Co. I use an acrylic block to stamp them, and they're really easy to use, and you can actually see what you're doing, which is really nice. You just peel it off of the sheet, mount it onto the block. They're sticky, and then you pull out your ink of choice. I use the Versa Magic, and usually black, but I do have a couple of colors. This works really well with Tomoe River Paper. It's not super dark or clear like the Versa Fine ink, but it also doesn't go through the pages, which is very helpful when the paper is this thin. I usually put some sort of hard surface underneath the page that I'm stamping just to try and get a really good impression. And in some cases, like this one, it doesn't even turn out exactly the way you want it to, but that's okay. I determined in this situation that it wasn't a big deal and just kept on going because it wasn't important to me that that corner was completely clear. Usually it just means that I need to put more ink on it, especially when it's the first stamp. But I just go in and I put 4 of these stamps on each of the sheets to the right side, and then, like I said, leave the left side blank so there's plenty of space for ink to bleed through. And it's a very nice, relaxing activity for me to do. Anytime I run out of pages with stamps on them, I just find some time and sit down and stamp them. Usually I will give it some time to dry before I turn the page, but I do have that blotting sheet, so I figured since I'm filming, might as well use it. And I think this time I'm gonna stamp it over closer to the right edge of the paper. I think the stamps turn out better that way since it's not as close to the seam in the middle. And I was pretty happy with it. You know, it's not going to be perfect. This ink pad is also pretty dry. I've used it a lot. I do have a newer one that I can switch to, and I feel like this one has been mostly used up. But as a result, like I said, it's a trade-off that the ink isn't super dark and clear because it doesn't end up soaking through the page like a more intense ink would. Here's an example of what I do when I really mess one up. I just put a sticker over it and then nobody sees it. You can kind of see it through the backside. And in fact, I probably could put something to cover it on the other side too if I really wanted to, but I don't care enough. This is a pretty messy journal. It's fun to flip through and have it be a mess. And so I'm okay with that. And now I should be set for a good long while with plenty of spaces for new ink swatches. I've seen other folks who've used like a binder or individual cards that they attach together with a ring, and that makes a lot of sense because you can organize them by color, and I might do something like that in the future. I would love to hear in the comments below what's your approach to swatching inks if you like to collect lots of them like I do. I've really been enjoying talking to you folks in the comments about fountain pens and fountain pen inks. Up until I started this channel, I didn't have very many people to talk to about that sort of thing. It had been a relatively new hobby for me, but I didn't really know anyone who liked the same things as I do. So it's been really fun. I have filmed a lot of videos just like reviewing pens and inks, and I have a couple that are ready to go that I'm going to be posting soon, including one about another set of Goulet pens ink samples that I bought. So if you'd like to see that, make sure you're subscribed. And if you have seen a fountain pen or an ink in one of my videos that I haven't made a dedicated review video about, let me know which one you're really excited to see in the comments below, and I will put that one ahead in line. I have a lot of videos filmed for this channel, but it takes a long time to edit them, and so it's just kind of a big pile, and I'm going through and deciding what I want to prioritize. So your input is really helpful to me. I am grateful to you all for being here and leaving me such nice comments, and I will see you next time.